Well, as Karine Jean-Pierre continues her book tour, which has been a wild ride already, she stopped by MSNBC and got pressed specifically. This has been a long time coming in the last week of her book tour. She really had not faced this level of questioning over the Biden administration's policy on Israel and Gaza. She got pressed by Ayman Moiladeen on it this weekend. Let's take a look.
You stood at the White House podium speaking on behalf of the administration. You defended U.S. policy in Gaza at a time where there were mass civilian casualties, journalists being killed, whole families being wiped out, hospitals being bombed. And the international community was calling it what it was at the time, saying it was a violation, it was war crimes, and you defended the administration's policy. When you look back at that moment, do you regret any of the positions that you advocated for on behalf of the administrations, the positions you take? Do you feel that you were complicit in advocating a narrative that turned out to be wrong?
No, I appreciate the question, because one thing that I really want to make clear is that I was speaking on behalf of the president. That is the job of the White House press secretary. I'm not speaking for Karine Jean-Pierre. I was speaking for Joe Biden. That's every White House press secretary. That is their job.
Well, you said now you speak for yourself.
Hold on. Wait, let me finish.
No, I know. I just want to, because we're almost out of time. I just want to go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm going to get to it. Obviously, what's happening is heartbreaking. And to not say that, and not to be clear about the devastation and the killings that we're seeing of families, is just heartbreaking. And I would say is that is not the way I believe people wanted it to turn out. But I didn't make policy. The president is going to write his book. He will speak to his policy. I'm going to let his foreign policy team speak to that. But it is heartbreaking. And I'm hoping that the ceasefire holds. We need to get to a peaceful situation in the Middle East, to a peace agreement. And I know that's going to take a lot of hard work. But of course, that's not what I want to see.
I mean, nailed it, stuck the landing, 10 out of 10, Krystal. Couldn't have gone better for her. Well, everyone's buying the book now.
And Ayman followed back up and said, okay, I get it. You were speaking for the president. Now you're speaking for yourself. Ooh. And still deflection, along with some way of working in her, trailblazing identity into all of this as well. And I don't know, the book, her as a person, all of it is tailor-made to drive me insane, because I knew her a little bit when I was at MSNBC.
Yeah.
And she came out of the Move On activist world. And I'm just like, how does this happen? And the answer actually is contained in the book. The answer is she doesn't care about policy or anything. Apparently, she left the Democratic Party not because of any of the obvious reasons why one might,
yes,
but because she felt they treated Joe Biden poorly.
The Democratic Party was insufficiently pro-Biden, even though it clung until the bitter end, until he glitched in a debate.
So now she's framing herself as a quote-unquote independent who's left the Democratic Party because it was too insufficiently loyal to this doddering, narcissistic old man who's facilitating a genocide. Okay. And then the other thing that she's pissed about in the book, apparently, is that they weren't sufficiently deferential to Kamala Harris. Again, not based on any merit, anything that Kamala Harris had really done or achieved, but just the fact that she was also a historic, identity hire.
Yes.
And had happened to be next in line. So those are the things that she was mad about. And it's I don't know. It's such, to me, a perfect encapsulation of this particular mode of girl boss and boy boss politics.
Yes.
Where it's about your own personal ambition and fulfillment. And the voters are there as a vehicle for the grandeur of Kamala Harris or of Hillary Clinton or of Joe Biden or of Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
That's what she thought the party was supposed to be, and that when the voters didn't obediently fall in line, and when there were other factions, by the way, of Democratic elites as well, who were we are going to lose to Donald Trump with this man. We have to do something. She found that was what she found so offensive. She could no longer be part of this party.
Well, and Krystal, you teased this masterful Washington Post book review of Independent at the top of the show, but let's get to it. We can put it up on the screen, because what Krystal was just saying is actually encapsulated itself in this line from the review, which we should credit the author, Becca Rothfeld, for writing. She says, Jean-Pierre is an artifact of an age that looks recent on paper but feels prehistoric in practice. The age of pantsuits, the word empowerment, the musical Hamilton, the cheap therapeutic entreaties to work on yourself and lean into various corporate abysses. Independent is written in the outmoded register of one of those lawn signs proclaiming that in this house we believe kindness is everything, which have been firmly planted to no tangible electoral effect since 2016. And what I think what stands out from that observation, Krystal, is you mentioned KJP doesn't particularly care about policy, and that's astute because it seems like what she cares about is identity. And it seems like the best sort of takeaway, or one of the better takeaways from that era, is how everything else was subjugated to identity in democratic politics. And when you subjugate everything else to identity, I think actually it's why when you and Sagar were hosting Rising originally, it took off. I think it's why Breaking Points took off, is because it was saying that's shallow. There are serious material concerns, spiritual concerns downstream of that. And all you care about is identity. You've seen it over and over again in Karine Jean-Pierre's interviews. She's tried to kind of block and tackle by saying, I am a Black queer woman. And that falls completely flat now in a way that it wouldn't have in 2019.
Progress.
Yeah.
Let's put the next piece up on the screen, this other quote from this article. Really, you got to read the whole review because every word is delicious, but it's a little too long to read all of it on air. But let me just read this part. Imagine parting ways with the Democratic Party, not because of its unwavering support of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as he violated international law and waged a bloody campaign against civilians in Gaza, not because of its humiliating failure to mount meaningful opposition to the Trump administration's assault on just about everything of value in the country, not because it continues to run candidates in their 70s and 80s, one of whom opted to die in office at 90 rather than cede her seat to someone younger.
Dianne Feinstein.
Not because of its inability to expand access to healthcare or protect immigrants or tax wealthy or really get anything done at all, not because of its politely non-committal affect and rhetoric of facile uplift or its members' tendency to address the public as if they're delivering the keynote at a corporate retreat, not because the Democrats have no political vision, something of a liability for a political party, but rather because of the single sensible, if very belated, thing they have done in recent memory, which was to usher a doddering Joe Biden out of the 2024 presidential race. So she left the Democratic Party not because of its many failings, but because of the one halfway intelligent thing, halfway moral thing that they did in the past little stretch. That's the thing that was the straw that broke the camel's back for her. So, I mean, it sounds like it is just a platitude-laden, like vacuous black hole of thought based on this review and others that I've seen too commenting who actually, read the whole thing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to subject myself to that. But it really is, I guess it's heartening in a sense that, yeah, these arguments from her at this point that we should have just backed Kamala Harris because she was next in line and there shouldn't have been, it's good that voters didn't have any process. And how dare you even think that maybe there should have been voter input to this. And, and that all of her facilitating and running cover for a genocide should be forgiven because she was just speaking for the president. Oh, by the way, did you know I'm a queer Black woman? I mean, all of this does such a disservice to the many extraordinary and accomplished and morally courageous Black women and people of color that are out there. Like, for you to claim the mantle like you represent all of them when you were both a failure at the skill level, and which is why John Kirby had to be brought in constantly
bad at her job
to save your ass.
Yes.
And a failure, most importantly, on a moral level, and continue to be a failure on the moral level, even now when you're detached from the administration, can speak plainly about what you actually think about these things. Like, how dare you hold yourself out as some beacon of any identity group when you have failed in such key and critical regards at a really critical moment for the country.
And this is the problem with subjugating content to identity and subjugating substance to identity, is that you end up actually undercutting the work that people who have those identities actually are contributing. And it was the same problem with Kamala Harris, and the Biden administration they were so attached to these identity politics that when it was obvious Kamala Harris was not the best candidate that Democrats could have run, when it was obvious Karine Jean-Pierre, who had been much touted for her identity politics, being the first lesbian in the role, and I think the first Black woman in the role, they had touted that so much that when John Kirby was clearly the better candidate to replace her, they couldn't, because they would be then boxing themselves into the corner based on their own arguments of replacing a black queer woman with a straight white man. And you can't do that, even if it's better for Democrats, even if it's better for the party, that you have somebody who can competently make the message of the party or sell the message of the party to the public. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't
and also,
do it.
let's be clear. I mean, he's morally disgusting and abhorrent.
But he was
well,
at least a better
obviously.
pitch man.
But if you're just talking about technical skill.
Yes, technical skill.
Yeah. And
better pitch
I mean,
man.
and that's what it really comes down to is like, okay, let's not ask the question, the like identity characteristics of the person in power. Let's ask the question of what that person is doing for the various groups that we care about and for the country as a whole. Like that is, and so that's why it ties in so closely with the politics of personal ambition, where everything is about like the fulfillment of this powerful person's dream for their life, you know, and how dare you get in the way of whatever like achievement, ambitious achievement they wanted to claim for themselves. And if they don't make it, it's because the voters didn't understand their greatness, not because they had any failings.
No, it's so true. Weigel highlighted, he read it so that we don't have to, Dave Weigel of Semaphore.
Yeah.
He says, the knock on KJP was that she was a lightweight who had to be layered by John Kirby. And her response is, he posted this excerpt from the book, Alicia Keys, the singer and Broadway producer, said DEI is not a threat, it's a gift. Shakira, the Latin American superstar, dedicated her award to her immigrant brothers and sisters, saying they didn't stand alone. Doechii, a brilliant up-and-coming artist who won Best Rap Album, told all the black women seeing her on stage, like on the Grammy stage, that they should take that as evidence that anything is possible. Pop superstar and actress Lady Gaga, who won the award for Best Pop Duo or Group for a song she performed with Bruno Mars. Why she needed to mention that, I don't know. Gave a shout out to the trans and queer communities during her acceptance remarks. That's her argument.
Okay, well, case closed.
What the hell? Again, this is somebody whose job was to be a persuasive messenger, falling back on someone who won the award for Best Pop Duo or Group for a song she performed with Bruno Mars, lest you mistake Lady Gaga for somebody who did not win Best Pop Duo or Group for a song she performed with Bruno Mars.
Right. Got to get that in. Got to make sure that point's made.
What the hell?
What a mess.
Dems are cooked.
What a mess.
We're all cooked.
Well, actually, I mean, like I said, it's kind of heartening that, like you said, this will just fall on totally
It's
deaf
being
ears.
rejected. Yeah. I mean, the fact that the Washington Post published this review is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Washington Post now. But
and
yes.
I saw her, you know, Joy Reid, who used to work at MSNBC and I think was pretty close with KJP. She was pressing her on these same things with regard to Gaza, and the response was like exactly the same. And Joy, you know, Joy has some cred there because she very good case that she lost her job because of how forcefully she advocated for Gaza. And so, you know, when she was faced with the decision of like, okay, my career or my principles, she chose the principles. So, you know, I think to see her pressing Karine Jean-Pierre in that moment was also particularly like noteworthy and powerful to see.
It's insane to try to have anyone believe or that Karine Jean-Pierre thinks anybody believes that she genuinely thinks Joe Biden was okay for a second term. Like, that is a crazy thing to ask people to believe. That's insane.
Yeah.
And yet that's the predicate for her book.
Like, okay, and let's just say she's just this total cynical political actor, cares only about her ambition.
Yep.
Like, how much are you misreading the room right now? Who is this for?
I know, right? Like, the idea of writing a book called Independent is so smart. But man, did she get it wrong.
Right. Yeah, like do the Lindy Lee. You know,
Yeah,
you can be the next PBD, like her take.
That's so
co-host.
funny.
I think they're still in the market for someone new. You know,
That's
you could
so funny.
you could go. I was in there all the time saying this is wrong. We can't do this. You know, do you have any proof of that? No, but I promise you, I was there, and it's a crime what the Democrats did to the public. Like, if you're just looking for how to get attention and further your career, the right will take you. Like, if you're willing to go out there and say you turn on the Democrats and you're going to spill their tea and, you know, air the dirty laundry, they will take you all day long. That lane is wide open for you. This thing you're doing is like a non-existent lane that I don't think ever existed, but certainly expired somewhere around like 2014.
It's gone.
Yeah, indeed.
There we go.
All right, Emily, thank you. Enjoyable as always.
My pleasure.
We got through all of it. So
Somehow.
Yeah, well, we were kind of we were determined.
Yeah, I really wanted to get to that. So Sagar was at the New Yorker Festival, right?
Yes.
So that's why I'm here, but Sagar will be back tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, he did a panel actually with Hassan Piker, which I want to know how that went.
Awesome.
I've not heard the feedback yet. So
and they managed not to get deported. So big dub for both of those guys.
yes, neither of whom are heritage Americans in the lingo of the right.
Not a heritage American in sight on that New Yorker panel. Now, Sagar and Ryan also have a huge scoop over at Drop Site about the administration's Venezuela war. We have to call it that at this point. So when Sagar's back tomorrow, I expect you guys are going to break that down.
We'll be going in on that. There's some new developments as well. And yeah, huge story, not getting nearly enough attention. And like, it looks like it's happening. They're saying Maduro is either going to be toppled, like have to flee, killed. I mean, there's, the regime change, like it seems like they have decided regime change is happening.
Yeah.
It just is now a question of what that entails exactly.
And you know what, Krystal, I think maybe on the Friday show, one thing that would be good is to, even if Sagar's there, but even if he's not, have Ryan talk a little bit about the background of that story in the premium half for premium subs. So breakingpoints.com if you want to see the second half of those Friday shows. Because sometimes, we get the little background story on Ryan's amazing journalism and Sagar's amazing journalism too. So check that story out at Drop Site and tune in tomorrow to hear more.
All right, guys, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.